we've fired Brian. Did you listen to last week's episode? on Spotify, where it suddenly stopped after I said spanking in daytime.
Well, you didn't want your daddy to hear it.
Well, he did, and he was like, why did it end there? And I was like, oh. So
it highlighted it even more.
I know.
You love a spank.
And then, do you know what? I was at a wedding and I got a DM from someone saying, I think something's wrong. I didn't read it properly. It was like, I think something's wrong. Heard about you spanking in daytime. And I was like, what? Like, what? And then I messaged like, what? What? And they're like, oh, the podcast ends like really abruptly. And someone else did it to me and they're like, oh, I thought it went through a tunnel. And it had like, but guys, he tried to upload it and it didn't work. So sorry about that.
We didn't listen to it. So.
We didn't listen to it. No, I did. We didn't get to the end. If you listen on Apple, it was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got rid of Brian.
It should all be fixed now.
No, it's not. It's not working on Spotify. It just stops at that bit.
It just cuts off for 5 minutes.
Cuts off. Yeah. I know, that's why I said we should fire him and you said no.
He actually walks around like he's got the biggest balls ever.
Yeah, puts his little hat on.
And bosses us about and points his
and can't
finger.
even put a whole episode out.
Oh. I can't hear you, can't hear. Roll the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and welcome
The Unfiltered Bride Podcast. Tips from the top table and beyond.
so you know it's going to be juicy.
So Bethany, how are you? Do you know what? I was thinking about filming this episode the other day and I thought, oh no, I might cry on this episode, but I feel all right today.
We saw each other at a wedding and we just
cried a little bit.
We just looked at each other and hugged each other and we were like, are you okay? And you were like, no. Are you okay? I was like, no.
But it's really, do you know what? I've been thinking about this a lot because it's really hard to talk about. The cutlery is the wrong way around. Hold on.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's the same size fork. Sorry. I was thinking about it the other day because it's really hard to talk about without it sounding like we don't love what we're doing. No. How do I explain this? See, I can't even talk about it. I would never want one of my couples to hear and feel like, oh no, she doesn't want to do a wedding. That's not what I mean. But I am tired. I am exhausted. But like in a self-inflicted is what it is kind of way.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? You're not talking much. You're all right.
No.
You gonna cry?
Maybe.
Nah, you're all right. You're in too deep now,
I
mate.
think, no, we both have different struggles.
Yes, we do.
And I think
we can talk about it. This is an open podcast.
Everyone I've seen like this is now the point of the year where the suppliers are like,
but also, again, this is where I feel like I have to put another running commentary on it. They will be no less at your wedding.
Yeah.
Like that's how I will drive to a wedding like silently, like, and then get there. And the second you're around people, it all just, you flick back into, you just get re-energized and that's it. You'll go and like doesn't dip for a second.
I think there is no such thing as a bad day at work. Like in a normal job, you can go into your job and you can be tired.
Put your head down a little bit.
Put your head down a little bit. Have a bit of a lazy day. Like we've all been there.
That is so true. You cannot have a lazy day.
Yeah, in this industry, no matter what shit is going on.
Yeah. At
home or at, I don't have issues at home.
I was going to say, you've made it sound like that.
We're very happy. Like, you can't, no. It's like,
you can't pick up that work. You know, if you have a lazy day at work and you're like, tomorrow I'm going to really work hard and just catch up with it. You can't.
I think in the wedding industry, suppliers have a switch and we turn it on. And we're there and we give 110%. Like we just said to Georgie, like I've dedicated my life to this for the last 5 years, like in etiquette. Previously as a wedding coordinator as well, like you dedicate.
But even like be it doing it working for somebody else, it is easier to have slightly more of a half-assed day. Like maybe not do everything to 100%, but when it's for yourself, you literally can't.
It's like I saw some suppliers at a wedding and they were like, how are you? I was like, yeah, tired. How are you? Tired. But like, I'd never look at them and be like, oh God, they're not performing today.
Yeah.
Like it's like a band. You can't half-ass a performance. You show up and you perform. And I think that's what's hard is no matter what's going on, you can't have a bad day.
Agreed.
And I think that is also the blessing of this industry is that we are such incredible people. I'm going to blow our own trumpet.
She said it.
Because we are. Like I look at suppliers and I think like when we look at the miles that we do and we go from one wedding to another wedding that's 5 hours away and we do like stop halfway overnight, and then
I would want my couples to not know if I've done a wedding the day before or not. That's how I genuinely want them to be. I don't want them to. I genuinely want them to think that it's the only wedding I've done this year. And I would hope that all of my couples would say that and say energy was brought, and more energy, more passion, more thing.
Yeah.
But I did a post the other day where it was like I was crying at a speech, which was such a beautiful speech. And then I was putting that picture and I was like, I am like, that is emotionally where I'm at. But then I go to a wedding and all this stuff happens and I'm like, oh, I just love my job.
The thing is though, it's like, I feel like you can't not be happy at a wedding.
No.
And if you aren't happy at a wedding, then it's your problem.
100%.
Because I'm like, you see the guests arriving, you see them look at all the beautiful things and they're like, wow.
Everyone's having a little drink. The speeches are funny. The ceremony's
music's
funny.
going, and it's just like, oh, like we did a wedding, a bee's wedding the other day. And
I want to talk about some of that.
Tell you, right? No matter, like we turned up, we saw each other, we gave each other a hug. Like,
yeah.
Hey, not good. And then we walked in to see B. Oh my God, that woman is just, she like genuinely good vibes, good energy. Like she literally cried when she saw us. Yeah. And you're like,
she's got the sexiest voice in the world as well.
Sexiest voice.
I've got her voice. Is that bad? Can I play her voice on it? Yeah. She wouldn't mind, would she?
She is just,
she's just text me.
gorgeous woman as well. And her personality is incredible.
Hold on.
Hi, Georgie.
Hello, Georgie.
Me and Ryan. We're doing a proper review, but we just wanted to say thank you so much for making that day what it was. I'm going to try and do this without crying.
She cried.
She cried.
She's the loveliest woman. And I just was like, I feel grateful that she's chosen me to be a part of her day and I get to experience that. Yeah. Like, and that's how lucky I feel.
It's the more and more weddings I'm going to, like in a short amount of time, the more I realised like how big this day, like for you guys that are listening that are getting married, and I say it from experience, you don't know you don't realise how emotional that day is. And I don't even mean just like tears and stuff, like it's so much happiness and there's so much joy and there's so many people that you love and everyone is all together and you will be really close with your suppliers and you'll be really close, like it just is such a high energy, like not even high energy, high emotion day. Like so Bee's wedding, I cried at Bee's wedding. There was a moment, so I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this, but I'm sure she'll be fine with it, is that she had her dad and she had her stepdad. So her stepdad had been in her life almost the whole time. So she'd said to me, she was like, when we did our phone call, she was like, I want my stepdad to be involved, but I want my dad to walk me down the aisle. And I was like, cool, no worries, like say no more. Then when we got there in the morning, she said to me, she was like, I've changed my mind and I want my stepdad to do half the walk and I want my dad to do the aisle bit. And she was like, can you tell them that's what's happening? And I was like, yeah, no worries. Like I can just say it as if it's like just on the piece of paper, like, right, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And she was really worried about it. And she was worried. She didn't want to upset her dad. And I guess a lot of people get this situation where you don't want to upset your dad, but also your stepdad's been involved. Yeah. But when she was worrying about it. And when we did then the first look, I took stepdad in first. So I put them, they were both stood outside the door and I was like, shit, they'd never met. They'd literally never met each other. And I was like, fuck.
They both looked great, but
they looked fantastic.
I saw them, yeah.
I brought stepdad in. He did the first look. Beautiful. I then brought dad in. I put stepdad in the bathroom so that the dad would then get his moment alone. I was trying to keep them separate, but not like obviously
get in the bath,
separate.
Love.
Just
all right.
Go away. And then I'm gonna cry. And then we finished that first look, and then I squeezed Bee's hand and was like, look, and her dad and stepdad went over to each other, had a really big hug, and then brought her mum in for a hug, which is obviously for the dad is super awkward. That's his ex-wife, I assume. And they just all had this like three-way hug. Bee's crying, I'm crying, we're all crying. I just thought like that's the moment that you can't plan for that bit. No. You can't make that happen. You just have to hope that they are civil. But they were so much more than civil. Like there was even a bit where, so what we then decided to do was stepdad was going to walk her down towards this like bridge bit, pass her over to dad. So, but then they even did like a little handshake at the start of that. Stepdad went and sat down. It was so perfect. Like I just sobbed. It was so cute, so cute. And there was a moment where we were walking down towards the ceremony area and she had one on either arm. And I was like, this is it. This is what weddings are for. Like all the trends and the Instagrammable stuff and all that sort of thing. It's not, it's that little moment will stay with me Forever. Got me that.
She was a vibe.
She was an absolute vibe.
Such a
absolute vibe. Loved her.
I feel like I've had some of my opinions change recently.
Do you know what I have had people say to me, like, Beth's not you two don't differ as much on stuff. And I think it's because the more and more weddings we do, the more and more we're like,
I know. I feel like the industry has changed.
Agreed. Even in the year and not even 2 years that we've been doing this.
So my strong opinions have now changed slightly. I did a wedding for you.
You did?
Hannah and Chris.
I was very annoyed you did that wedding.
It was so
because
cool.
I loved them. Tell me about it, because I loved them.
So they were so cool.
They had the weirdest wonderful ideas, and it was just incredible. So they got married like in a woodland, like the proper woods in the, what was it, his family home
in the middle of nowhere, and it was called like Disney Disney Norton or something like that. Incredible. So chilled, so chaotic, so much love. Like, genuinely, I think they were the best group of people I've ever seen at a wedding.
Really? Wow. Why?
I think there was no tension.
Yeah.
No bad blood.
Yeah.
There was a genuine level of respect and love for everybody in the room.
Oh
like,
my God.
His family, like, they lost their brother.
Yeah.
And the relationship between him and his sister was just, I was in awe watching. Like, it was just, he spoke so highly of her when we did like the first walk around, and then I met her, and they just literally were so tight. Like, it was,
I am going to end up crying today. I can feel it.
Incredible to watch her family, like her friends. Like, they were just such a nice group of people. The MC, like, he was so lovely. Like, everybody come up to me like, you've done such an amazing job, all of this. And it was just like, do you know what? That really makes
a world of
difference. But they had so many moving parts. They were all boys with their toys and their walkie-talkies.
So he's a videographer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very much heavy into that world.
Yeah.
We had a drone fly in the rings. And
Did it work?
Yes. He came in on this scooter thing, his new scooter.
His mobile. He uses it. He puts his video camera on it and drives it around.
Like, all of those little touches. We had a bruschetta bar. It was gorgeous. They had tambourines as they walked in.
Nice.
Like, it was just incredible. So many elements I absolutely loved and adored about that day. They had garden games.
But you hate garden games, Beth. Sorry, just going to pause the podcast for anyone that hasn't listened back some while. I think if we had time, we'd play a clip from there, but you'll have to go back and find it. Beth says something along the lines of, I hate garden games.
No, I think I said I fucking hate garden games.
I fucking hate garden games. They're gross.
Vile, disgusting.
Hate them. No point to them. Unless they're acrylic and white, then not happening. So sorry, you're going to change that? You want to?
So.
Oh.
Han, this one's for you. You've changed my mind.
No, sorry. Could you say that louder and clearer?
You changed my mind.
What does that mean now then? You like?
I don't. Basically, they were bespoke made.
Yeah.
And they weren't small.
Yeah.
They were like more, how do I say it? More like funfair games, not garden games.
Give me some of the games.
So maybe I haven't changed my mind too much. But it wasn't like a beanbag and you throw it in a hoop kind of vibe. It was that they were wooden.
Beanbag. It's not sports day.
Well, that's what garden games remind me of, love, all right?
Okay.
And they had lights in, so at night they were lit up. Like, it was
give me
really,
the games. You're not giving me
pretty.
I need actual, like...
And she loves... Let me find it.
So we've got a coordinator group chat with my team, and you put some in the box. But I did a garden game one the other day, and they had a friggin' giant kaplunk. I'm going to do a TikTok video on this because it was insane. It was basically like this mesh... the dad had made them all, which, to be fair to you, you had said, if dads make them, I like them. Big mesh hoop with these like pipes in them, all of the like ball pit balls. So when you pull them out, all the balls, and I was like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, I'm here.
Brilliant.
Like, for me, I think my motto with it is go
You just
big,
like don't
go
like
home.
the hobbycraft ones.
Yeah, and if you're going to do a giant Jenga, it's got to be giant. It can't be like a
mini
Jenga. So this was it. This is a photo of it. So it was just like, you can see these
like on tabletops.
On tabletops.
What is that? Beer pong?
You throw the ball in.
2,
one of the holes.
Okay.
Got to get it in. She loves ducks, so there was loads of little ducks put on it. Like
Cute.
it lit up at night because it was all outdoors in the woodland, and I was like, do you know what, that's really cute. I'm here for it. We had a coffee van, we had a pizza van, we had brownie towers.
These were the guys, they hid the marquee in like this circle of trees, so you literally couldn't see it, and then they moved the coffee van out of the way, and then there was just like an entrance horse truck.
He cut the brownies with like a drone propeller, like their entrance was amazing. They had like the open bar, the drinks are on us, the hangovers on you, like so many like cool quick. And this is what I mean, if you have like a venue that you dry hire that you do yourself or bespoke, the tambourines were amazing. They were all personalized.
Cute.
And you know what, the colors were all green, just loads of different shades of green. So there weren't many flowers, but they were green flowers. Does that make sense? So it wasn't like foliage and ivory, it was like
green flowers.
The bruschetta bar.
So explain to us what's on that.
So it's just like meats, dips, breads, all on like a circular table, all different levels, all different heights, like crates. Like that was super fun instead of canapes.
Yeah.
But they did canapes as well.
Oh.
So they made sure they were well fed and watered, and just genuinely such a lovely day. I had so much fun. The suppliers were amazing.
Yeah.
Like absolutely amazing. And I know there was concerns about.
We were just worried of
contracts.
You know when people aren't, this is where it's difficult, is as a supplier, your communication really sets the tone. No, really tells people whether to be, and sometimes when your communication is not as good as what you are then on the day, it can be really off-putting.
I think it was a weird one because it was a marketing company that do the bar, the flowers, like everything. And it's like, well, how much can you actually do and be good at? Like it's quite, they're all very different and very high skilled. But they were great. The photographers, like everyone.
I just love a wedding where everyone is just on form. Do you know what I mean? When everyone's just getting, it's just lovely.
So,
but as you were saying that, I wanted to, again, I think we say it on every single episode, but I don't know how to explain it clearer, of just do whatever you want. Like the cutting a cake with a propeller drone, that is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
It's so Chris.
That's what I mean. Like I could never cut my cake with a propeller of a drone. Like that's the point. People will remember that wedding as it all felt really cool, but they did this and they did this, and it doesn't need to make sense. It doesn't need to, it needs to make sense for you two as a couple, but it really doesn't. If you shouldn't be able to find pictures of it online if it's what you want. Like, do you see the first aid kit one I did the other day? My groom was a paramedic, so the toiletry boxes were in first aid kits. Yeah. Genius. That's genius. I also wanted to tell you, because I knew you'd hate this until I explained it to you, which is again something I want to get across to people. My wedding the other day, guess what their favour was?
What was it?
Guess.
Oh, I don't know. Well, how am I going to guess?
What would you least want?
I don't know. Mint.
Worse, arguably. Let me get to the end of the story.
I don't know.
Sugared almonds.
I quite like them.
That is the oldest school thing I've ever heard in my life. Until you turned it over and read the little sign, and it said, oh God, I'm going to butcher this. The sugar-coated almonds, cufetta, are both bitter and sweet to symbolise the bitter and sweet parts of the life a couple will now share and a journey together. An odd number is used as the number cannot divide in two, as they are now one and not divided. Each cufetta represents a different blessing: health, wealth, happiness, family, and longevity. And it's because they're Greek. And I'm like, cool. I would never have sugar almond at my wedding because I'm not Greek. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. But if you explain to me why you're doing it, I'm like, yeah, love it. Absolutely loved it.
I've got a wedding coming up. I've just done a call. Yeah. Singing waiters. So maybe my mind will change. I have done a singing waiter one where I loved it. Yeah. And it was great fun. And I was even stood there singing along to it. So I think you just got to know your... You got to unapologetically do everything. Don't try and do it because you saw it online and wanted to do it. I've got a topic that I want to talk about, actually. Go on. We got a DM about it, but also I did a wedding a couple of weeks ago with it. Was glasses, and I know we spoke about it. Glasses. And if you wear glasses, oh yeah, do you wear them on your wedding day? 100%. And we did a wedding. Her name's Gemma. She's amazing, and she didn't wear them for the ceremony. Okay. So she put them on after, and I just was like, when she had them on, I was like, "That's you. That's you. And I think she had a makeup trial, and I think she went home to her partner Jimmy, and he was a bit like, whoa, that's a lot of makeup. And then it actually turned out that she didn't have her glasses on.
So
it made it like double whammy different.
Have you not seen those TikToks where like when your mate with glasses takes them off and their eyes are like little like...
Yeah, you're like, what? And I'm so glad she had photos with them on. Like so many people told her not to wear them, and I was like, that's not you.
I did the opposite, where she wore it all daytime, and then when we went to go and get changed for the evening dress, she's like, I don't know whether to wear them, and I was like, well, you've done some photos with them. I was like, do you ever not wear them? She was like, yeah. And I was like, well, then do the evening, like you're in party now, like do you want to shake your head around?
I feel like a bit of both is good.
But I had Specsavers comment on that video, and that was like, my life's made. That's it, done. I agree. Same for like, Apple Watches is probably the line.
Well, B wore a watch.
She wore a watch, not an Apple Watch.
No, but I like
the little watches, little
gold
watches.
Controversial though, isn't it?
And actually, because the groom, that was really funny. You weren't there for the speeches, were you?
No.
In the speeches, the best man was on about he has all these, he's a bit like Brian, he has all these different fads. So he's really into something. And he was going and he was then did this, and then he does golf, and he got all the stuff for it, and then he does all this. He said, but finally he's found the love of his life. And B goes, oh, and he goes, his watch collection. And then later on when they got changed, she came in, and they came into next thing you're wearing a Rolex. That DJ was
again
sick.
I feel like my mind's changed because that DJ spoke over the mic,
mate.
That DJ spoke over the mic, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then I went back late at night to do the collection, and he was like, go B.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Work it B.
Did you hear their entrance in?
No.
He was like, when I say, I'll use a different name. When I say couple, you say Mitchell. Couple. And I was like, this is, on paper, this is horrendous. But if you get the right crowd, it was wonderful.
I also think he was very R&B heavy.
He specializes in multicultural weddings.
Yep.
So I was speaking to a DJ yesterday about this DJ actually, because I was like, he was phenomenal. I was like, he had some of the like dirty music. I've asked him to make me a playlist,
like dirty whining.
Because there was a point. I think B and Ryan were coming over to there's us 4 suppliers stood absolutely like. It was one of those songs that just you have to dance.
The problem is I've seen a video of you dancing from that wedding, and I'm highly embarrassed. That was like mum dancing.
I was like, okay with it.
You are not cool.
But should I tell you what, Beth? I'm happy. Yeah. I was happy.
But no, that DJ was sick.
He was so good.
And I like the fact they had like the personalised DJ booth, like with the
yes,
and their initials were R&B.
Brilliant.
But yeah, when I came back later, I was like, these tunes are amazing.
I've literally messaged him to be like, I'm going to put it onto the Wedding Hub.
Yeah.
So not yet, guys. I'm waiting for him to make it me. But it was just like, it's the songs that you put on
and they're really
at 11
nice.
o'clock at night.
They borrowed my trolleys, and they were like, beautiful Beth, thank you. I was like, you're welcome.
Yeah, they were very good.
Like maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I'm reflecting on my previous behaviour of the pod.
No, but stuff changes your mind. Yeah. You're allowed to think that at some point and then change your mind.
But I don't think I'm cool enough for a DJ speaking DJ.
I don't disagree with you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I'm not a dirty whiner. I can't dance that well. Whereas B could dance.
Yeah.
She was like, and I was like,
if they're
go
listening,
girl,
they can't see. She's trying to shake stuff that she ain't got.
Yeah, brilliant.
I also, I was trying to remember that bloody post that I did with the crying. Oh, I want to tell you this. Should I tell you the speech for it? Why I cried?
Go on then.
I don't think I've said this.
No.
I will cry again. So my problem is when I listen to Father of the Bride speeches, I either picture my dad, who I love lots and listens all the time, shout out Dad, or Brian doing Isla's. And when I think about Brian doing Isla's, this is why and it makes me start to realise of like, you know when parents get really involved and I'm like, you've been planning this for 30 years. They've been planning this. No, you've been planning this for 2 years. They have literally been I've planned Isla's wedding in my head like 100 times over, and I picture Brian doing the speech and stuff like that. So anyway, this dad
turns around and be like, yeah, I don't want Brian to do a speech at my wedding.
That's what I mean, but that's what and half of me is like, well, it's her day, like let her have, like, of course, but then the other half of me is like, oh, I've literally dreamed of this day. Like, I do think there's some things it's hard.
Don't be that mum.
It's hard. It's a topic that I think needs to be discussed. Like, we need to picture what it is like for them, but I do agree, like, there's bits that you shouldn't be choosing bridesmaid dress and stuff like that, but I do see why they get upset about some of the traditions. I get it. I get it a little bit. Remember we talked about that mum that was really upset that the bride had got married before?
I feel like self-reflection because previously you're like, fuck you, mum.
Yeah, I know. But then I know. I'll have to write myself. I have to record myself a message.
They wrote all their notes down for forever. We're telling them, yeah, don't worry, tell your mum to piss off. And now we're like, that's all right. Let her have her moment.
I do think you have to. I think you have to look at the stuff. It's the same as like when people say about a cake cutting, and I'm like, it takes 3 seconds. If your mum made the cake, she really wants to see you cut it. What's the harm? If it's stuff that's like I agree. If Isla didn't want Brian to walk down the aisle, then is what it is. I say, wanting to cry. Anyway, so this speech is happening. So the groom and the bride met at university. Yep. So on the very first day at uni, the dad brings his daughter, and I'm sure is she an only child? Something. They're really close. The family are really close. They take her to university for that first day, and at the door comes the groom, and he's like, "Hi, can I show you around?" Well, like, he was one of those guys that was helping you figure out where to go. So he's helping take all their suitcases up and stuff like that. And he's like, "Oh, your room's next door to mine." And he helps them move in.
Yeah,
and the dad is saying like, "Oh, when he helped us move in, and he showed us all the places." And when I was then leaving my daughter, she'd never been away before. I didn't really know what to do. So she was walking up the stairs. We were going down, and she was stood with the groom. And I kind of just looked at him and went, "Look after my little girl." And he's never let me down since.
Oh, stop. That's so lovely.
Then at the end of his speech, he said something like, he did all the rest of it, and he was like, "So I'm going to ask you one more time, look after my little girl."
Oh my God, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Oh my God.
It absolutely, honestly, I'm still crying thinking about that one. Of the just, you've never let me down since. I'm really tired, Brian.
And I'm going to ask you one more time.
I just want to look after my little girl. I'm not joking. Everybody was sobbing.
Oh my God.
Brian's looking at us like we're stupid.
I've not got waterproof mascara on.
Brian, you would have absolutely sobbed. I'm not joking. You would have sobbed. And then I pictured us
Daddy
taking
issues.
We're crying different reasons. It was look out my little girl.
Oh my gosh.
He's never let me down since. So anyway, I still have a heart. I get so emotional at weddings now.
Has my mascara run?
Yeah, you look a mess.
How has it?
Yeah, and shall I tell you what else?
Has it run? And you just let me sit
it's not run. What else happened the other day? A granddad stood up and did a reading.
No,
guys, if you get if you are lucky enough to have grandparents at your wedding, please get them involved, because it is honestly precious.
Do you know what I think is hard as well? Hard. Look at me, I can't even barely speak. Is even though, like, sometimes when we do like on the day coordination, you spoke to them once, but like the morning you're so close with them and invested, and you get to know the families, that when this happens you're like, I feel part of it. Like
I am so involved, too involved.
And this is what I mean when I say we dedicate ourselves to you that day. It's like we leave and we're like, we know your mum, we know your dad, we know your best mates, we know. Do you know what I mean?
Especially like, dads. I seem to get.
Yeah,
I seem to get close to dads, but like, because they come and do the first look, and I know that dads are always really, they don't know what they're doing, like, so I try and spend a bit of time to be like, we're going to do the first look and this is what you need to do, and then they're doing a speech and then they're walking down the aisle. Like, there's a lot of things that a dad does that then it's a lot. And the other day I spoke to a dad and I was like, we were getting ready for the first look and I was like, you okay? Are you a crier? And he was like, no, I don't think so. I was like, do you need tissue or anything? He was like, no, I'm fine. Walked in and just literally, he just, you know when you kind of lean down to your knees, like he just dropped down to his knees, and I'm then, honestly, the dad reveals get me every time. I think I've decided that's my new favourite part.
The dad reveal,
or whoever reveal, because I appreciate some people like aren't close to it. Whoever that person is that's doing their first look. Then I did it with a nan the other day. Oh,
she literally just pointed at me.
Sorry, I didn't mean your dad wouldn't be doing a first look, would he? So that wouldn't make me emotional. But
I wonder if he listens.
Would your mum do it?
Or
would your mum help you put your dress on?
Help me put dress on.
Who'd you do a first look with?
I don't know if I would.
Brother?
No, we're not like that.
Yeah, my brother would walk in and go, right?
Sound right? Yeah. you look all right. What was I going to say? Another thing that made me emotional the other day.
Should we just talk about stuff we cried at weddings?
No, and I got asked on the call today, actually. The groom had lost his brother quite recently. So, and then again, my groom today that I spoke to on the call lost his brother, and he was like, I don't know how to
put it in
my speech without upsetting everyone, but of course I want to.
Yeah.
And they did it at the wedding at Hannah and Chris's, and Chris said something like along the lines of, we all know that my brother can't be here today, and like it was a very emotional part. And then he just flipped it and was like, but if he was here he would say X, and it was like a little catchphase he said, or something like that. And I think always acknowledge it.
You can have that moment of sadness, but then punch them with the
like, and then like they all had this thing. It was like, do you know what as well, it was really nice, they will like do a ski holiday every year, like the friends were like tight, like friends for life at that wedding. And that's why I felt like, oh, this is really nice. And they had this thing, and they were like, I'm gonna absolutely butcher it, so sorry Hannah and Chris, because it's probably not what you actually say, but he's like, these days are like are some of the best days of our life. And it was like their thing that they said all together. And they like, I heard him say it like a few times throughout the day, and I was like, you know what, you're so lucky that you've got such amazing friends and such amazing
it's
family.
hard to get.
And I think if you don't, like, that's where people worry, like, do you know what I mean? It's like we had a bride the other day put in the group chat, she's like, some of my best friends I've known for years couldn't even bother to bring a card. You were at that wedding, weren't you?
And I'm like, and do you know what? I obviously see a lot of bridesmaids together in the morning. The vibes are like, you can feel it from a mile away. And I just think there's some people that would, I don't know. Whose wedding did I do that? I thought to myself, I need to remember to talk about this, because they were all so excited for her. They were so happy for her, and in that came I'll do whatever you need me to do, but also in that came who's playing music, who's doing this, who needs to grab a dress, like, just so when you're picking bridesmaids, it's not always about like who you've been friends with the longest. It's about who is genuinely going to be so happy for you in that morning. Because
I've done, again, at Hannah and Chris's, we did bridesmaid reveal. And I've got it on camera actually, and I was like, that is one of the best bridesmaids reactions I've ever had, because again, it was so wholesome and genuine. Like, some of the girls were crying, and it was just like, and I've done the complete opposite, where it's like people are like, oh, this is awkward. Oh, you look nice. Like, and it's like, I think if you've got to be so selective, and I think
if you haven't got the right people, don't have anyone.
I'd rather, like, I did a wedding the other day, and it was literally her and her mum. And that was it. It was me, the photographer, her and her mum. And it was fine.
And that's like, I just don't think we should be, I don't want to encourage the faking stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
just for the gram.
If it doesn't feel right, or if you don't really want to do it, then don't do it. If you've got a reason as to why you don't want to do it. But like, even I'm sure Brian probably goes to weddings, and in fact I know that he's gone to weddings where you get jealous. Like, he would be jealous of, like, Brian's not really a boys mate, you know, got loads of a group of mates, where you go to some weddings and there's clearly like this group of like 8 mates that have been together the whole time. So it's really hard for people watching other weddings online to not be, maybe envious is the right word, envious of that you have that, and you don't then have to fake it. If you don't have it, you don't have it, and that's just
I think that's what really it is, isn't it? Actually,
it sucks, but unfortunately,
this is what we had. And like, when I had that bride that didn't have bridesmaids getting ready for her, I was like, good for you. Don't worry, mate. I will make you feel special. And we just sat, me, the photographer, her and her mum sat, had a chat. Like, I was like, you look incredible. Like, she was doing her photos, and I was like, wow, you look like you were so photogenic. Like, and it's like,
if you haven't got someone else that'll do that for you,
we don't have to have the Natasha Bedingfield morning.
No, I agree.
If we haven't got the people, like, don't force it, because you know what? Sometimes it's worse when you try and force it and add people in. And I just think, again, with the grooms, and the groom got ready on his own, and
fine.
Like, I think I wholeheartedly believe that, and I think you're allowed to be envious of what other people have got, just like you probably are envious of people whose parents are still together, and that's nice. I
go to weddings all the time, and I am so I will happily say, and it's not that I want to change the life I have, but I am very envious of the couple that sit down, and then you've got mum and dad on one side, mum and dad on the other side, one like a maid of honor, a best man, that are all, and I have no shame in saying that I am envious that you have that. It doesn't mean I want that. Like, it's a different thing, but I don't know. You're allowed to feel like that, and then be like, okay, well, that's not what I have, so this is what I'm going to do.
And I feel like, again, I get it with like when I watch people with their dad's reactions and like walking down the aisle and stuff, and I'm like, will I have that? Well, I don't know what my relationship's going to be like when I'm...
Would you like Brian to walk you down the aisle?
He's not tall enough. Love you, Bri. You can be at the end of the aisle for me, though.
All right.
But like, it's like, actually, again, like people are, would your brother walk you down? I love my brother dearly, but
if that's not the relationship you
we don't have that relationship.
Yeah.
Whereas other people do have that relationship with like brothers and stuff. Like
I've seen some brothers sob. I did one of reveal with the sister and the brother, and then they had the other sister on FaceTime because she was really pregnant. So she was, and it was just so close. But I agree, if my brother walked in, he'd be literally was like, okay,
right, cool.
In fact, I saw my brother before I walked down the aisle because he came to collect my mum. I don't even think we said anything to each other. I think we were just like, right.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like everyone's dynamic's completely different. Just because what is portrayed online doesn't mean you have to. And you're allowed to feel envious. You're allowed to want that.
Yeah. And then we move on and we think of something else.
But unfortunately, that's not what we have. Yeah. And we do have other things.
That's the thing. You could do a dad reveal. Why would you do that? That is not going to be how that it goes online.
Yeah.
Like, I just...
But,
and the stuff that makes it online is always the best thing that's happened at that wedding. Do you know what I mean? So when you watch it and you think, oh, that whole wedding must have been unreal. Like, you're getting the best of the best on social media. So just... let's remember that. Let's just take a moment to remember that.
Let's not force things, guys.
No. I did another wedding the other day where the nan had made all of the bridesmaid dresses.
That's so
8
cool.
bridesmaid dresses.
Wow.
Let me show you a picture. I'll try and get a picture for you guys as well.
What a cool nan. And then,
so again, this is taking plans with a picture. So we wanted to do a first look for the nan with the bridesmaids.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out. We had to move spaces, we had to move rooms, so they were all getting dressed around us, so it didn't really work. But what we made sure we did is that the bridesmaids were all doing a photo with the bride, and then we swapped the bride out and put the nan in there, and we did, right, all the bridesmaids look at nan, and she just was so happy, like in her little, like with all her girls around her. I've got to try and find these dresses because honestly, they looked incredible. Okay, I've got it. You ready? I can't. I'm just gonna cry today. Look at this.
Oh, look. These dresses are gorgeous as well.
Look at Nan in the middle, just loving her life.
What, babe?
I just couldn't believe that. But plan A didn't work. So plan B, we made sure that Nan felt special. But that was the Nan that did a first look with the bride as well. She cried as well. Guys, if you're considering first looks or not, I would like to give some tips for first looks.
Okay.
How many would you like?
5.
Okay. Tip number 1 is try not to show people your dress. You will get a much better reaction if people have no idea on what dress you're going to be wearing. Tip number 2 is to make sure that you have a clean, light, big enough space to do a first look. Otherwise, there's kind of no point doing it if you're squished into a corner somewhere. Tip number 3 is that you stand still. So you stand still, you get your dress ready, you're stood exactly how you want to be, ready to be seen in all your glory. Tip number 4, in my opinion, is to not hold your bouquet, because I think you hug and stuff like that, and I think it's nicer to have room to do it. And tip number 5, that's my opinion one, because I see them hug.
No.
And they don't know what to do with their hands.
I do, but I also feel
Just
like
finish a look.
The finish look, and also it's like the awkward hand thing again. You know,
skills, yeah. Okay, decide then if you want bouquet or don't want bouquet. Yeah. And then tip number 5 is to also decide how you want that first look to be. So I normally see a photographer, I'm like, how do you want to do it? Where do you want to do it? Blah, blah. And they're like, oh, we'll get... And again, this is just my opinion. I prefer it when all the bridesmaids are in with their eyes closed, because I would want the photo of them all opening their eyes at the same time.
Agree.
However, some photographers are like, oh no, I just want them to walk in individually. And I'm like...
Nah, it doesn't hit the same.
That. And again, that's not how I would want it. But... So maybe that's a conversation to have with your photographer, to say, this is what, or me, or whoever, like if you're having a coordinator, to say, this is how I want this to be. Dads and stuff like that is quite nice when they walk in, because then but equally it depends on the room. If you've got a room where you come in from the corner, we don't want them to see us from over there. We want to kind of be right in front. So they're my 5 tips. They're quite good, that.
Yeah, good tips.
It was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Off the cuff like that.
Well done. Tick.
Mate, I have a story. In fact, I don't have a story. I think this could be... a new trend for us is to get people to voice note over their stories, because this is wild. Are you ready? No. Get comfortable.
Okay, so I've got a pictures from a bride. I think it's a bit of a unique one. Beautiful wedding day. Absolutely phenomenal. Barely anything went wrong. The cake started going over and we had to do a fake cake cutting. Man of stuff. We had Charlotte from Georgie Beth events, beautiful. Every supplier was amazing. Everything was great. Fast forward to 10:30 at night. I'm on the dance floor, the bride, and I'm dancing to The Greatest Showman.
Strong.
And you know, there's like, you're not jumping, you're doing like a mini hop sort of thing, dance. I did that on the dance floor. And my knee went sideways.
Ooh.
I go down hard. And I can feel this horrible popping noise.
Oh.
I can feel my knee crunching before I've even hit the ground.
Oh.
I grab people that are beside me as I go down, and I'm just there on the floor screaming, "No one touch me." Music stops instantly. Everyone has seen me go down. We were in a massive circle. I have dislocated my knee, like round the side level dislocated, and I have also fractured it, which we found out afterwards.
Jesus Christ.
I ended up on that floor for 2.5 hours before paramedics turned up. 2.5 hours. Then I was chatting shit with morphine and gas and air, which was great, but eventually made it back after having to go to Gloucester Hospital.
GC.
And being there from about 2 p.m. all the way to about 10 a.m, which, to be fair, not too bad. But about 4 or 5 hours of that was without any pain meds in there because they wouldn't give me anything. And yeah, broken knee. May get a full knee cast in a couple of days. But currently sat at home in bed with a beautiful floral arrangement at the end of my bed and me in a full leg brace.
Jesus
But
Christ.
until 10:30, great day. Best day of my life. We're pretending 10:30 p.m. onwards was a different day. Thanks.
You just can't write it, can you?
No,
I'd be like,
I
DJ,
meant
play
2
this
a.m.,
song.
Not 2 p.m.
2 a.m. I was going to say.
It's a little high on the drugs.
She sounds still high. And then the photo she sent me is her with a knee brace and, like she said, just a beautiful flowers. Broken knee.
Please be careful on your dance floor, people.
Broken knee.
That's wild.
Fractured and dislocated kneecap. Jeez. Oh my God.
Gosh.
Could you imagine?
That is just...
on the floor for 2.5 hours.
I'm glad you had a good day, though, and you could see light at the end of the tunnel.
Jeez. So I have a question. I need your help because somebody messaged me a picture the other day and they were like, I'm heartbroken. My venue is not doing any of the gardening. Let me get to the end of this story before you are like, what? Not doing any of the gardening before their ceremony and she's heartbroken.
What?
That's why I was like, what? Send me a picture.
Gardening?
I don't know what you're talking about. The space where she's getting married is this beautiful like pagoda-y thing. And then where people sit is like a little aisle away from that thing. All of the bushes are in front of where they'll get married. So if you sit not in an aisle seat, you can't see them.
What's the point?
How ridiculous is that?
What?
Yeah.
That's basically having like a wall in front of you.
You literally may as have a wall in front of... In fact, nobody will be able to see because no one will be sat in the aisle because there'll be an aisle.
What I would recommend...
Go on, you tell me what you'd say and I told you what I said.
I recommend messaging Georgina Rose Events. And Georgina Rose Events will pledge to give the venue a call and say, do you know what? I'll come and cut it myself.
I would cut it myself. I tell you what you could accidentally do is run down there with a hedge trimmer. Sorry, missed.
Like a crazy person.
I actually told her...
what did the photos look like on the, like, you know, on the website and the brochure?
They don't do that many weddings, so they've just... It's overgrown. It looks pretty, don't get me wrong, like, but you can't see it.
Can she stand in front of the bushes?
So I said to her, you need to get married. For anyone listening, there's like a big patio bit, and then there's this little aisle, and then the pagoda thing. And all the bushes are either side of that little aisle, so it's all overgrown and like prettily overgrown, but you wouldn't see her. So I said, you need to get married
at the front
of the patio bit, and she said they won't let us. It's not illegal. And I was like, no, the signing has to be under that pagoda.
Do you want to know something else as well? They changed the law.
They changed the law every
They changed the law like 8 years ago.
So she said that to the venue. She said to the venue, I'd said, like, it's not a wedding that I'm doing. I was just trying to help her with the stuff. And I was like, tell them that you don't have to get, you have to, some of them make you do the witness bit, like the bit where you do the vow to say, I have no reason why I can't lawfully get married, blah, 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 blah. That bit under there. But I would much rather go and say the bits I need to say under the pagoda and come and do the rest at the front.
Outdoor wedding ceremonies from 2022. Last April, this is written in 2023. Last April, they announced that the rule has changed. The rule change was permanent. You can now get married outdoors at a licensed wedding venue. You don't have to stand under a permanent covered structure. That changed when I was at a venue.
Yeah.
Because we then did outdoor weddings because we didn't.
No, you weren't at a venue.
Was I not?
No, it was 2020. It was during COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, this was COVID, when all the COVID stuff kicked off, because obviously people couldn't get married outside.
And it was a permanent. Yeah, but something else changed when I was doing coordination at a venue because we then got to go outside.
That was probably where you had to do the signing the register under the thing, but now you don't.
New outdoor wedding laws, as long as the venue has a civil ceremony license, then yes, you can have a legally binding outdoor ceremony anywhere within its boundary.
Nice, there you go. Take that home with you. You can have that for free. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I just think venues sometimes are like, no, we can't. And I'm like, you can actually.
Someone said that to me and I was like, no, the law changed years ago.
It changed in COVID, and then they weren't sure if they were going to put it back, but they've said it's permanent.
Do you know what I do? Speak to the registrars.
So I told her to ring the registry office and just say, can I just check? Because if they said you need to come and sign the documents under that thing, we need shade. All right, cool.
Fine.
No worries.
But they're the ones doing it.
Yeah.
It might depend on what license you got though at the venue, but
civil ceremony
I'd
license.
We'll cut your bushes then.
Yeah.
Trim your hedge, love.
What do you do? What do you do if a venue aren't budging on certain stuff? Because the problem is in all the contracts, it's like, we can make changes.
Well, I had that the other day. A bride, one of your brides as well, they painted the bar green. And it was white before. Oh. And it's not even like a dark forest green or like a nice light green. It's like bang in the middle, like ugly green. Like that Sprite can there.
Hey, whoa, don't you speak about.
But like,
it's just an offensive green.
Like, what?
I spoke to some photographers. We were having this conversation. They were on about two venues. They're up north, and there's two venues near them. One, the photos. Oh my god, picture almost like a marquee, but built white, clean. There's nothing in it. Gold. Like you could literally do the most neutral wedding in there. They painted it blue, navy blue, the whole thing. The walls, the ceiling, everything. So everybody's kicked off. Like, we've made colours from and they're like, well, in the contract it says we can make changes. They're like, fuck off. And then one of them, they're quite well known for this like black and white floor. I don't know the venue, but black and white floor that's got all these like floral patterns in it. And people have made wedding invitations with that floral pattern. They've changed it. They've changed it to the weirdest like pattern you've ever. And I'm like, you can't do stuff like that.
Annoying. Oh.
So yeah. Make sure you know your rights, guys.
I just think it's ridiculous. Do you want a bitches from a bride?
I want a bitches from a bride.
Anonymous, please.
They're my favourite.
It's long. Okay. Love the podcast, guys. You've got me through wedding planning. I really need some advice. First off, I'll start by explaining the situation. It's my mum. I'll bullet point the issues.
Wait, let me get comfy. Okay.
She got her dress over a year ago. The dress is completely white on top and then blush pink on the bottom.
We've had a conversation about that before. I'm not a fan, but okay.
She fell in love with it and I was too nice to say no.
Okay.
Fine. That's on you, love.
Yeah.
You should have said no.
I agree.
Yeah, fine. She caused drama by telling some of her family they weren't invited to the day before I had even sent the invites out, which caused a huge family fallout. She took their side the whole time, but I stuck to my guns and now no longer speak to those family members. Good.
Is what
Fine.
it is.
At my wedding dress appointment, I come down in a dress and specifically said, I hate it, so please do not react to it. It's awful. And it was the only dress she cried out. When my dress does arrive, I went with just my mum to try and have a moment with her. I started crying the second I put it on. I was so happy as it fit like a glove. As I came down the stairs, hoping she would cry, she got her phone out and started reading a message from her phone out loudly, fully taking away the moment. Whenever I speak about anything about the wedding, she makes it about herself. So I say, my shoes come. They're
all right.
I don't know. Ooh. So if I say, my shoes came, they're really nice, she would start talking about hers and not ask me about mine. She is doing my wedding cake and everything I have asked for, one of which being a simple bow tied around the top tier, is just a complete inconvenience. She talks back on everything and suggests other ideas from the dark ages. I'd understand if it was asking for something extra, but it's a 3-tier naked cake with a bow on a white stand. My first hen, we went for food to the theatre. She didn't socialise with anyone. I felt like I had to babysit her. This weekend, I had my main hen. She spent the first night complaining about what the house looked like, then went to bed at 9 p.m. and barely spoke again. We obviously were up to around 3 a.m. and she spent the entire morning complaining about her lack of sleep and the noise, to which I remind her bluntly, this is a hen do.
This is a hen do, yeah.
What do you expect? I spent the entire weekend trying to involve her, complimenting her, pulling her into pics. She did get up on karaoke and stay up past midnight, but I spoke to her when we got home and she proceeded to tell me she barely spent any time with me, which has made me feel super anxious and guilty because I'm just that type of person. I'm absolutely terrified that she's going to ruin my wedding day, be constantly negative and just piss me off. I'm at a point now where every little thing she does winds me up and puts me in a bad mood. I want to speak to her, but I don't know how to approach it as she sulks. What should I do? From a very, very stressed bride to be.
Aww.
Oh. Sounds like that's just your mum. Like,
I know.
It's like, I know mums are like that.
How do...
Mind blown.
What I would say is you won't spend a huge amount of time with her on your wedding day.
Well,
what?
Didn't we do a wedding? You spoke about the other day where the mum was miserable the whole day because they got the...
Yeah, because they got legally married. She didn't speak to her all day.
I think if she's going to be like, she's going to be like that.
Yeah, but it did.
I don't think anything you do or say is going to change it now. Because she sounds like that type of person.
I think you need to do the things we've said about this before, but like... I made sure I ticked my boxes. Mm-hmm. You've got a
from the start.
You've got a buttonhole. You've got a reserved sign. You've got a letter. You've
get
got
her a dressing
gift,
gown.
Here's what I didn't want my mum to be there the whole morning that we were getting ready. I just wanted some time, so I told her to arrive late at I can't remember. She'd done her makeup, but I can't remember. But she came later so that I had some time to just chill. And then she came in. It was nice because it then hyped up that moment. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, it's getting closer, and then the next thing was it was all creeping up.
So at every point we need mumsy happy,
little reassurance.
I
do quite often get, so the wedding I did yesterday,
it's hard though because mums aren't important on the wedding day.
I agree.
They don't get that moment.
My bride yesterday said to me, look, my mum and dad have helped me plan this wedding. They have been very involved. That is so good for me to hear before I start, because I now know that when I arrive, hi mum, how are you? How are you feeling? How's your like? I would try and make effort with people anyway, but that is, you are not my job. However, if I know that you want that to be a little bit of that job, then I will make. Do you want me to help you put your? Let me put your hat on. Oh, don't put your hat on until we've done her dress on. Like just all that little stuff. And same for dad. Dad was really involved, so I made sure I take a bit more time and all that. That looks
great. You organised that.
Yes.
Wow, what a great idea.
Yeah, they just like it's nice for people. The more you can tell your suppliers, the better. Especially a coordinator, because they are you. They are you on that day. You focus on being a bride. And even like I did another wedding the other day where the dad was trying to sort out all the transport. He is flapping. He is absolutely flapping. And the bride looked at me and went, get him out of here. Because he was just bringing down the vibe. Like she was in a dress, we were ready, and he's having these like argument. And I was like, should we go outside? Let's just get out. Like respectfully, get the fuck out. So just stuff like that. You just need someone in your corner who's like, but again, there is nothing. My mum and my mother-in-law on that wedding day could not say that they were not cared for.
I just think a conversation now is just going to trigger it.
Yeah.
And basically, it's bratty behaviour. If you're going to tell someone how to behave, they're going to throw the toys out there.
100%.
So right now, I don't think your conversation's worth it. You're so close. You've got your dress. It's fitting.
You've obviously done your hen do's.
You're close. It's now just making sure the next few months or few weeks, whatever it is, and also hitting them points.
If you know when you're having a conversation about it with somebody, they're not going to play ball, then don't have the conversation with them about it. Don't involve them in if they bring it up, then cool, we'll talk about it. But
I think you've got to know she could potentially do something that's going to piss you off, but you can't allow it to piss you off.
I also would be making sure that you put on your photographer's list a photo of mum with the cake she's made. Like, it's a lot of it. She's putting effort in. She's clearly not being a total.
And do you know what? If the bow went there, the bow went fucking there.
Yeah, is what it is.
It's what it is.
It is what it is. But
we've cried.
I was going to say, this is now going back to me thinking to myself, when Isla gets married, I'm going to be so good.
No, you won't.
But I really want to do a speech. Okay, bye. I'll just help Brian write his. If she lets him do one.
You're such that mum.
I can't help it.
You can't be.
She's my best friend. Right, I'm going to go because I'm going to cry for a little bit because I think I just need to get it out of my system. I might watch Marley and Me later.
Oh, no, it's a horrible film.
Yeah, I just want to cry.
No,
I just want to cry.
And I worry about my dog dying.
Oh, I don't have a dog, so I don't worry about that. But fair. Okay, I'll watch Marley and Me. You can watch. What makes you cry?
I don't know.
Shall I tell you what gets Brian every time? What? Every time we watch this film, he sobs like a girl.
Oh, Bri.
Click.
I never watched it.
Adam Sandler, where he's got a remote control and it goes, oh, watch it tonight. That'll make you feel so much better because you'll cry and then you'll be like, right, okay.
No,
my life
then I contemplate life.
No. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
Enjoy your cry tonight. Let me know how it goes.
Now I'm going to watch Subs Go Dating.
Boring.
Okay, love you, bye.
Well, that was a fun episode. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to get ready because
tour is coming soon.
By Christmas, we want some big plans in place. We want tours in place. And we should be coming up to our 1 million downloads.
1
You
million.
little legends. You little legends. Okay.
Next week, we've got a really cool episode. Really cool episode. We are going somewhere.
No. Oh, yeah. Where are we going? Don't talk about it. Not allowed to talk about it.
We're going to a venue.
Oh, yeah, of course we are.
It's all going to be all about the venues. We're going to go deep dive in, ins, outs, what they think of you,
Ooh.
actually. Yeah.
Ooh. I might be ill next week. Okay.
Love you, bye.